I leave the TV on, I'm done with your sad eyes. I can't take another night with you on like this, so let's go, I'm sure.
Hi guys, my name is Ndiege for those of you who are joining me for the first time, and I create home content or home decor content for millennials on a budget. So today's video came in highly requested. I've had a few of you just jump into my DMs and ask me, Grace, I'm planning on moving out or planning on moving out before Corona, and I don't know, I honestly do not know where to start. So this video, if you're planning on moving out for the very first time in your life, is for you. And if you're already, or you're in one place and you're looking to move to the next place, hey, hang on, maybe there's something you can also add to the conversation in the comment section below. So before I go in, just remember to comment, like, and subscribe if you've not. It really supports my channel. So on to my first point. So let's look at budget. Budget is, I think, the most crucial tip I could give you if you're looking at moving out. They say that you need to only spend about a third of your salary on rent and expenses, and it's a third or less, and I want to emphasize or less. Say for example you made 50,000, then that means in a month your rent should not go above 16 or 18,000. My math is really bad. So if you can keep it below that amount, then that's really amazing, and that's how you should work, or that's what you should use to determine how much rent you can afford to pay. Now, many people often just think about their rent, but they do not ask about utilities. And if you're moving to an apartment building, there's common spaces, there's garbage collection. If some apartments have gyms and swimming pools, and all this need a service charge to take care of them. So it's important that when you're viewing apartments, to also ask your caretaker how much extra money in a month you would need to be putting away, or you need to be paying towards this extra services. And then another expense that you need to probably think about is your electricity and your water bill. So some apartments will have the water also just included in the service charge, so you wouldn't need to pay an extra amount for water every month, and others charge you per unit. So you either get your water directly from the city council, and then they read your meter and they tell you you've sold or you've used this number of units this month, and therefore your bill is X amount. Water is not usually the most expensive one, so make sure when you're looking at your area, you actually find out how much per unit the water is. I know they range between 100 shillings and 150 in certain areas, but you will find some areas that will go higher, especially if you have water shortage. So before you actually embark on moving out, set aside the amount of money that you need to pay for rent. So most landlords will often require that you pay 1 month's rent and either 1 month or 2 month security deposit. So you can start putting this away the minute that you decide, I'm ready to move out, and just having this amount of money on the side is really important. Paying this, and particularly in this Corona times, you'll find that the certain people that are actually living off of, or for the landlord, this is a security feature for them for them to let you live in their premises for whatever amount of time. The second point that I want to go to when you're looking for a house is accessibility. So accessibility also in some cases will determine the rent that you pay. So if you look at a house that is close to the road and close to public transportation, then the rent is probably higher. If you're willing to go a bit further inside, then you'll get, within your preferred area, you'll get cheaper rent, potentially even by 10,000, 5,000, like it's a significant amount. What accessibility also means to me is how you can access public transport and Ubers. That's one thing people don't consider. There's some areas in Nairobi that Uber drivers will absolutely refuse to drive to at night, and you might own a car, but there might come a time when you actually need to get someone else or to get a hailed up to take you home, and the driver will just simply refuse because of security, which is my third point. So with security, there's certain areas that we know are culprits of bad security, and there's others that are also very, very secure. But I don't think, or I wouldn't say that every place is completely 100% guaranteed security. There's also incidences that are abnormal, and people don't actually think about this, or they happen once every not so often, and it might happen to be you. So the one thing that I always say is try to get to know be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your environment. Just look at make it a point to know your shopkeeper. Make it a point to always just pay attention to who's on the road when you're walking home, if you're walking home and it's late in the night. In my specific area, this has come in very, very handy. We've had an incident when there was an attempted carjacking, and because this person was someone that the community knew, people actually left their houses to come and help them when they raised the alarm. So they were it happened in it wasn't too late in the night. That's why it was a very weird, like it was a very random incident, and it wasn't too late, so there are still people out. But the fact that this person was actually known to the people around them saved them. The other thing I wanted to look at, or wanted to talk about, is start small. They say, is it ki? My Swahili has gone. I'm sorry. Today my English is amazing. My Swahili is just to the window. But kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa, and all other inshas, or all other accompanying methalis that you put in place of this one when you're writing your inshas. Basically, once you've decided you want to move out, write a list. This really worked for me. I had, I think, 3 full scraps of a list stating every single thing that I wanted to buy. So I wrote it by room, just so that just so that I do not forget what it is that I'm looking at, or what it is that I need to buy in this room. So I went with, if you're going to be living, for example, in a 1-bedroom apartment, then you start, say, in your living room, if you want a couch, if you want a TV, if you want a coffee table, if you want any decor pieces, just write that under your, what do you call it, your living room list. When you look at your kitchen, the kitchen is, I feel like, the most expensive room, because you make a lot of electronic purchases, and this take up a lot of money. Use that, like literally write everything down that you intend to use. There's certain things that you come to realize over time that you don't actually need, you can do without. So just look at things and figure out what it is that you actually might make the most use of. So for example, a fridge is important, somewhere to cook is important, so it doesn't have to be an actual gas cooker with the 4 burners and all that. It could also be just a meko, and then you get a 2-burner and a table, like I have at my house. Then you can also, a microwave I find is one of those things that you actually need, especially if you work and you leave the house a lot and you come back late. It's very, very important for you to just meal prep and then come and eat if you live alone. And then when you go into the bedroom, the bed is important. I didn't buy a bed when I first moved out because I'm mad. I don't think I've still invested in an actual bed that I want, but you can have these things on your list. So this list doesn't mean that you have to have these things by the time you move out. It's just to help you also stay within budget, so you're not walking into a shop and just buying things that you don't actually need. It means that you give priority to those things that are actually a necessity, and you can, when you're planning your monthly budget, which I hope you do, you actually plan for certain purchases. So it's also the best time to take advantage of sales. We're blessed in that we have amazing platforms that give you all sorts of discounts. So you can get stuff on Facebook Marketplace, you can also get stuff on Jumia, and with electronics I've seen some very good deals. And for people that don't care about aesthetics, because I'll say this, my major expense with electronics and my kitchen electronics is because I wanted everything to be either silver or black. So whenever I found anything that was in budget but it was white, I wasn't really focused. I wasn't really too keen on getting it. But you have certain platforms that allow you to buy this thing. So when you're sitting at home now, and if you see anything that someone is trying to get rid of in their house, for example, bed, microwave, you know, there's people who are leaving the country on expat place, then if it's a really good deal, grab it. Don't, like, for the longest time, I think for 3 months before I moved out, I literally had a box in my parents' house with kitchen utensils. I had no plan of moving out. I just found these utensils and I thought this will help me, and this just reduces your cost when you're eventually planning on moving out, just because at the very time when you do need to move out, then you might end up spending too much. So you're trying to minimize the cost and then make sure that you still maintain the right quality of life. Then also think secondhand. Don't be afraid of thinking secondhand. I am the biggest advocate for buying things that have pre-loved, pre-used items. For me specifically, it's with items made of wood. I'm very conscious of the environment and how or what we put out, or how our usage of things as humans affects the environment. It's not something it's not something I ever thought like I actually liked until I was doing it, and the reason for me is satisfactory enough that I keep checking these pages and looking for places and opportunities where I can take something that someone does not want to use anymore and make it and give it a beautiful home in my house. And the beauty of secondhand items is that you can customize these things. We have an amazing jewelry industry. You can just buy, say, be it a chest of drawers and have it repainted and reupholster seats. You can change the knobs on things and just make it beautiful and suit your particular wants. The other thing I just wanted to emphasize was, again, on the budget. So when you're looking at the actual moving out, make sure you actually have money put aside for this. So start saving as soon as you think about this. Start saving money. And the thing is, moving out can cost differently for different people. So for one person, it could be I just stuff all my clothes in a suitcase, get in an Uber and move into my new house. And for the next person, it could be that you have a bit of furniture and a bit of things and you're moving from one house to the next, and you actually need to budget for maybe a moving company that will charge you something from 25,000 going up, depending on how much the distance and how much they have to move. So that said, in the next video I'll be going into what to look at, or what things to look at specifically when you're looking for that new apartment. And I hope that this video has been a blessing to you and that you've been able to learn something. Again, stay home, stay safe. Leave any tips in the comments below for anything that you feel that other people need to learn or need to do before they move out that you think I've not shared. Bye. Bye guys.